Loss of empathy might well be the most enduring and deep-cutting scar of all, the silent blade of an unseen enemy, tearing at our hearts and stealing more than our strength. Hello and welcome to Liam's Lyceum. I'm your host, Liam, aka Himvar, and today I'll be doing a spoiler-free review of R.A. Salvatore's The Silent Blade. Silent Blade is a 1998 novel by R.A. Salvatore in Book 11 in the Legend of Drizzt and Book 1 in the Paths of Darkness series. This, of course, takes place in the world of the Forgotten Realms, and it also takes place specifically in the year 1364 of Dale Reckoning. For those curious, that's about 130 years before the present 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons timeline. This will, of course, contain some spoilers for the first 10 books in the series. It was nice having the companions of the Hall back together, even if their reunion in Passage to Dawn Book 10 was rather lackluster. They of course start off at Icewind Dale and are leaving to bring Kren Shinabon, the evil magical artifact, commonly called the Crystal Shard, to the south to Erel'Khazar, to the Spirit Soaring in the Snowflake Mountains, which is a temple of Danir, who is the god of knowledge and scribes and such forth, way to the south to the priest Catterley. Wulfgar is suffering. He's tormented by his thoughts of Ertu and his nightmares mostly. He's no longer empathetic, and his friends try to get him to be able to feel again. It was really nice because this actually kind of makes Wulfgar one of the main characters again, rather than just a side or support character, and that's been several books since that was the case. And the character development we get for Wulfgar is probably the best we got for him since the Crystal Shard. Venturi is back. He thankfully wasn't present in the previous book, and I'm still of the opinion he should have died several books ago, but I digress. Venturi has returned to Calimport, thousands of leagues to the south of 10 towns in Icewind Dale, the furthest part of the Sword Coast that is still on the Sword Coast from where the Companions of the Hall start the story. These storylines initially don't seem connected, besides the characters' past connections, of course. They do start connecting about halfway through, though. There are 4 parts to this story. Part 1 sets up the companion storyline and Venturi's, and honestly there was little combat in part 1, and it was hardly drawn out if there was any. This really was enjoyable to me, and it reminded me of some of the earlier Drizzt books. Wulfgar's torment is deep, and it seems even his friends of old cannot get him to feel, even when they try to force the thrill of battle and other things on him, it just does not dissipate his demons. Part 2 is when we really get Wulfgar on the forefront of the story, and his second encounter with the tribe of Uthgard, the Sky Ponies, last seen in Streams of Silver, was a greater view of the companions' past, but also a larger view of the Forgotten Realms, which I often feel Salvatore misses in his works, seemingly forgetting them. Pun not intended, but I'll take it. Friends of our neighborly bald rogue with a hat with a feather in it will be happy here, because Jarlaxle does make an appearance as well, a welcome one with his typical bravado and his webs of intrigue. Of the Drow of Menzoberranzan, he is by far the most nuanced and interesting to read about, though admittedly the guilds in Calimport sort of play the part of the warring houses of the Drow cities. In this book, I much prefer this than the destructive and chaotic Drow house wars, which were a huge chunk of their society, while the guild wars are just a piece of Calimport's. Catterley is mentioned several times, but he doesn't actually make an appearance here. While he does appear briefly in Passage to Dawn, for those unaware, Salvatore wrote the Clare Quintet that introduces the said priest of Danir and his friends. I would really recommend you don't read these unless you are a huge fan of Salvatore and just want to complete whatever he wrote in the Forgotten Realms, but I digress again. This book also amps up the sexual content, but not in a gross amount or way. It felt more adult rather than juvenile, which was a feeling I got a lot in other Drizzt books. Finished Passage to Dawn all the way back in August of 2020, so I needed a big break from Drizzt, and that helped a lot, honestly. I enjoyed this one thoroughly, though my pace wasn't the best through it. It took me quite a while, but I'll blame the holidays on that one. But honestly, this is my favorite Drizzt book, along with Streams of Silver, and I find that impressive because I was not expecting that going in, and maybe that's because my expectations were so low. And considering I've been reading better Forgotten Realms novels, it's been hard to keep my expectations so low with these Drizzt books because they just don't live up to the hype in my mind. That being said, I really did enjoy this. his writing is still not the best. There's still several occasions where I was like, how did you get away with writing that by using this word in one sentence and then using the exact same word in the next sentence? It was just super repetitive in other cases. There was a lot of spelling errors actually in my copy as well. But anyways, I did enjoy this, which will surprise some of you, but it surprised me mostly, I think. And so I am looking forward to getting to the Spine of the World and Sea of Swords, and then on to Sword in the Shard whenever I get to that. But I don't know when that'll be, but hopefully sooner rather than later. I am trying to finish more series up. But thanks for watching. Let me know what you think of this book. I know a lot of Drizzt fans are die-hard, and so I realize it's kind of, there's a lot of disparity there. You're either a big fan sometimes, or you're not a big fan at all. So anyways, thanks for watching. This from Liam of Liam's Lyceum. I'll catch you next time.